drink recipes because it's almost, getting off time or something.
Thank you. Arigato.
The Your Own Pay Podcast Network. Inspiring, motivating, and educating entrepreneurs around the world. It's Demasi and Michael, just talking tech.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Demasi Thomas, and we're here again for DM26. And joining me, as always, is Michael Babcock. You can follow me on Twitter at Demasi, D-A-M-A-S-H-E. And Mike, tell them how to follow you.
Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Payon, P-A-Y-O-W-N.
Today, we're going to be revisiting a topic that we discussed in DM4, social automation.
As I mentioned back in DM4, and I'm pretty sure Demasi talked about it as well, social media networks change every single day, which means the tools that are available to use for social media networks are always changing as well. Demasi, why might I want to automate some of the things I'm doing on Twitter and Facebook?
Spend less time in those social networks, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn, and allow you to spend your time more efficiently focusing on the things that you need to be doing or the things that you want to do, whether it's spending time with your family or creating a new product or service or, actually doing whatever it is you get paid for.
And one of the tools that I just mentioned, Crowdfire, does real good at helping you limit the time that you're spending on social media. For example, I have a schedule set up every morning at 10 a.m. my time. You can change that time in the settings. I get a notification on my phone because I'm an iPhone user and it says, "Hey, Michael, I got new posts you need to post on Twitter." So I go in there and I follow what they call the recipes. It's created a Twitter list and it grabs content. We'll talk more about Twitter lists soon, but it grabs content off of other like-minded individuals' Twitter accounts and shares it with me and suggests that I should retweet it or suggests that I should share this article. It also grabs my RSS feeds and it says, "Hey, you published this content. You might want to schedule me to share it for you over the next 30 days, 2 or 3 times. And I do that with a push of the button. And then it also walks me through the process of what we all should be doing every day, and that is engaging with other followers on Twitter. Primarily, that's what Crowdfire focuses on, both publicly and privately, by setting up automated direct messages, which is a feature. And then it walks you through a list of accounts you should be following and unfollowing. Literally, Crowdfire takes me about 10 minutes every morning at 10 a.m. I've got it scheduled on I don't have it on my schedule on my calendar. I should, because it's set up to notify me every morning at 10 a.m. But that way I'm not spending all day long in Twitter.
Yeah, and one of the things you mentioned that Crowdfire does is amazing, which is allowing you to automatically pull in your content, which a lot of services do, but more importantly, giving you some ideas from content from people that you follow or that are getting a lot of buzz at the moment, and giving you that additional content to push out there that you have an option to go through, look at it and say, well, yeah, I think my people that follow me would like this, maybe not that, but these 2 articles here are good, which is awesome, right? Because that's one of the things that we kind of start to waste a little bit of time on if you're trying to be smart and strategic about this, which is, I don't want to just push my stuff to you all day long. That serves no one's purpose. You, the follower, are going to get tired of seeing it. Me, the sender, I'm either going to get tired of rescheduling the same thing or start to feel the pressure of, I got to create more stuff. Right? What I want to do is be able to share interesting things that I have done, but also share other things that seem interesting and valuable to you as well from other people. And it seems like Crowdfire really gives you a leg up on that aspect.
It sure does. And I love that Crowdfire reminds you, hey, you need to go in and look at what other people are doing and favorite them. That's one of the things in their recipes, because Twitter has an algorithm, as we all know, and Twitter's algorithm is dependent on how well you're engaging with the people that you're following and that are following you. And if you're not favoriting or you're not sharing or you're not replying to other people's tweets and you're just pushing out your content, as we said back in DM4, Twitter's like a river. It's important to get your content out there, but it's also important to engage with the people that you're connected with. Because if you're not engaging with Demasi or me, or you're not engaging with the people who are interested in purchasing your products, then they're going to think that all you care about is yourself, and they're going to say, why should I buy from him? Why don't I go buy from Demasi and Michael, who engage with me?
Another thing too to look at with a service like Crowdfire, and I actually like their strategy here, because at this point, we all know of tools that will automatically post stuff for you, right? You can set it up and walk away for a while and not have to worry about it. If you put in a little bit of work up front, there's no interaction needed by you, Mike says buffer. I say Hootsuite. The problem that I have with both of those services in general, and services like them, is that you don't get any initiative to come back to Twitter and start to interact with people who have liked your tweet or retweeted you or any of that stuff. And the only way that I've been able to get around that thus far is to have notifications going off all the time, which can be slightly annoying at times. I can't always interact when somebody retweets something that I post or somebody likes something that I post. That may not be the best time to do it, but guess what happens? You forget that this person retweeted you or mentioned you or quoted you, and you had the intention of interacting with them, just couldn't do it at the time that they did. So another problem to me that Crowdfire is solving, and that sets it apart at the moment, is it is going to help you better engage. And to me, that's one of the most important and most often overlooked functions of your social media accounts is the engagement that you have. Giving people information on what you're doing, products you have, services you provide, things that you think are interesting, links to look at. Yeah, that's great. But social media is, it's right there in the name of the stuff, social media, right? It's about the engagement.
And it can often be time consuming. One of the things that I have a problem with is remembering to go out and schedule my posts, because apps, as I mentioned, like Buffer, or Demasi mentioned, like Hootsuite, you need to go in there and schedule your posts. But if you're scheduling a lot of content every day, you need to go in there and schedule the same posts over and over. So I decided one time to look up a program, and I'd heard about it on a couple of podcasts, called Meet Edgar. And Meet Edgar will go out and post content on your social media all across Facebook, my favorite social media, Twitter, LinkedIn. It'll even post to your Facebook profiles as well as Facebook pages and groups. I love Meet Edgar because you add content to it, then you create a schedule and say, hey, post this type of content on this day at this time on this network. Once you set that schedule up, you just keep adding content to Edgar, and he's smart enough to post that content at random based on the schedule you set up.
Let's say I post content. I set up Meet Edgar, and I say, well, at 9 o'clock in the morning, I want you to post some type of positive affirmation content. But at 3 o'clock, I want you to, post something about drink recipes, because it's almost, getting off time or something. And let's say at 7:30, I want you to post a, long form type of article. So as I add stuff to Meet Edgar, it's going to parse the articles that I add and say, well, this looks like a affirmation thing. It's a little short quote. I'm going to do that in the morning. Or this looks like a super long piece from The Economist. So this is, an evening time post. Is that what you're saying? Is that what I'm getting? I'm getting that right?
Unfortunately, no. Although, Tomasi, that sounds like your next project you should create. You have to put the content in the categories. If you have an affirmation post, you got to put it in the affirmation category. But you're right. You pick an affirmation category on your schedule, and it will grab a random post out of that category that you've added, and you don't have to go re-add that content. It'll keep recycling that content at random. And you can set up RSS feeds. So you can set up your RSS feed to automatically go into the My Demasi and Michael blog posts that are posted every day at 2 p.m. And then that feed is automatically filling that folder with content.
Okay. So it's still pretty cool, though. Somebody needs to get to work on that. First thing I said, though.
It's important to automate your social media, not only to get back to your family and to get back to products and services that you need to create, but I don't want to be sitting on Twitter all day long. Demasi doesn't want to be sitting on Twitter all day long. And my wife doesn't want me sitting on Twitter all day long. So it's important to get automation into your social media, but learning how to use social media, all the tools to automate the social media, that just takes time.
So we do have something coming up in September. So about a month from the time that you're hearing this episode, a little bit less than a month, we are going to do a webinar, about an hour-long webinar, and we're going to go over using social media tools that we use. We're actually going to go over some strategies for using a lot of the different tools that we have discussed. So We'll be putting that together. You can go over to yourownpay.com/DM26 to get the notes for this episode and get the sign up form. And register for the webinar. It's going to be limited. So get in, get your spot ASAP. Because they will be going fast. But we're going to go over using some of these social automation tools and some better strategies for making your social media work for you. Being able to engage, being able to enjoy your time on social media without wasting your time on social media.
And we'll talk definitely about how my younger brother, who is 11, by the way, grew his social media from 50 to, I think right now he's sitting at 780 in about 2 weeks using Crowdfire. We'll talk about strategies and a few other things on the webinar. So go to yourownpay.com/DM26. While you're over there, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Payon, Payon, and he's
at Damashe, Damashe, and we will catch you guys next week.